guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new I Don't Work Here Lady content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first one is titled, Karen Assaults Police Officer All Over a 12-Pack of Water Bottles. For some context, I'm a police officer and in my country our officers don't really have the same kit that you see in the TV shows. Think a light stab-proof vest, a pistol, and some have tasers kind of thing. I'm part of a specialty unit that is basically a quick response team for situations that could turn deadly or just need specialty officers. We have the same kit as the stereotypical American officer. Bulletproof vest, AR, less than lethal weapons and that sort of jazz. It does vary from officer to officer, so it's safe to assume that I stand out quite a bit. My country also has very strict gun laws, so it's not common to see people walking down the street with a concealed carry or anything like that. And from here on out I'm going to use American terminology just to make it easier for everyone to understand. Now on to the story. A few other officers and I were dispatched to a call involving a male having a PTSD episode and was threatening to shoot at anyone that came near his house. We ended up staying there for a good few hours trying to help the man calm down and get him the help he needed, which thankfully we managed to do and no one was harmed. So obviously after I went to that call I decided to stop at the shops and get something to have as a quick meal to get some energy and calories in me. As I was going down the aisles I noticed an elderly couple struggling to pick up some 12 packs of bottled water, so I helped them load their bottles into the trolley. Perfectly harmless, right? What could go wrong? That's when a wild Karen appears. Karen, excuse me. Me. Thinking she has a question about something involving policing. Yes ma'am? Karen. I need you to carry these to my car. She was pointing to the packs of water. Me. I'm sorry ma'am, but as you can clearly see I'm a police officer. I can't be carrying things around for you because I need to be ready to drop everything in a moment's notice. I'm more than happy to help you load them into your cart and help you find an employee, but unfortunately at the moment that's the best I can do for you. Karen. Scoffs. You aren't a police officer, you're just some wannabe airsofter. I just want a reference here. I'm in full kit just without my rifle and it's very illegal to even just have the plate carrier, never mind the authentic police badges. Me. No, I very much am a real police officer. I'm part of specialty unit. That's why I don't wear the uniform you normally see officers wearing. If you wish I can provide you with my ID and number. Karen. It's illegal to pretend to be a cop. I'm calling the police and you're gonna get arrested. She proceeds to call the non-emergency number and tells the dispatcher about me. Karen, you're completely in your right to report me and verify I actually am one, but in the meantime I'm going to continue shopping. Call for a police impersonator that is armed with a gun comes over radio and I tell dispatch it's me, but to still send regular patrol officers over. Karen. You aren't going anywhere, a-hole. Proceeds to kick the back of my knee making my leg buckle and I fall over. Me. That's it Karen, you're under arrest for assaults of a law enforcement officer. Karen proceeds to kick and scream and all that whilst I handcuff her and take her out of the store, and a few store employees are following trying to stop a crowd from forming. Just as I pulled Karen out of the store to remove her from the public, 2 patrol cars pull up. One was a supervisor. They ask me why she's in cuffs, so I explained the story and the supervisor questioned Karen about what happened. She ended up saying I cussed her out and attacked her, so she kicked my knee to get away from me. Supervisor obviously very quickly took my sidearm and other weapons and put me into the back of his car. Standard procedure just to cover the department's ass. And took Karen out of her cuffs. The supervisor apologized profusely and asked if she wanted to push charges. She obviously very happily replied with a yes. So, supervisor, Karen, she was very hesitant and insisted that she must be going, and they can just email her. Store manager and another officer all went into the security room to watch the CCTV footage. The footage showed us talking, her pulling the phone out, me walking away and then her kicking my leg. Karen was instantly handcuffed and taken back to the station to do all the booking and that fun stuff. Here most of what I know is from talking to other officers, as I was immediately placed on unpaid suspension because I has been investigated for assault. It turns out Karen had a warrant for theft, and once the officers found out she kicked them a few times and was eventually placed in a cell. On the day of the court hearing, she was found guilty of assault on a law enforcement officer X3, making false police report X1 and wasting police resources. Her theft charges were dropped as a plea deal. She got sentenced 1 year jail time and was forced to take anger management classes. Once I was cleared of any wrongdoing, I sued her for lost wages, about 6 months of suspension, and defamation of character because she ended up getting my face published on basically every bit of local news during the whole investigation, and I was labeled a power-hungry, abusive police officer. That ain't a fun reputation to have. So, in the end of it, because Karen was too lazy to load a 12-pack of water into her own car, she got sent to jail for a year, lost her job, lost her BF, basically only has visitation rights for her children. Father used the assault case to get custody of them, and lost a good chunk of change. The next one is titled, "No Lady, You Don't Get More Toilet Paper Than Everyone Else." So, this was a story from the time in which everyone bought up horrendous amounts of toilet paper for no reason during the pandemic. At one point I had worked at the store I was shopping in, but at this point I was not working there, and it had been over 2 years since I had worked there. So I had to get to the store extremely early and stand in line for 2 hours before they opened to get 1 pack of toilet paper, and the lucky ones of us that actually ran to the toilet paper aisle were the ones that got the big packs. Because the store only lets you have 1 pack, it doesn't matter if it was 4 rolls or 16 rolls, you only got 1 pack. So I was fortunate enough to get one of the larger packs of toilet paper. I actually did need toilet paper. It was my mother's regular shopping day, so I actually grabbed 2 packs to put in the cart. I did not live with my parents at this time, so I was walking around with the 2 packs, and they wouldn't take one of them away from you until you got to the checkout, so you could walk around the store with multiple packs in your cart, but it wasn't till you got to the register that they took the rest out. I called my mother to see if she needed toilet paper, because if she did, this was her typical shopping day. I was going to do the rest of my shopping and wait on her, then hand it off to her, because by the time she got there wouldn't be any left. She told me that she had enough toilet paper, and she didn't need any, so by this time the shelves were pretty bare. All that was left was basically paper towels. I heard an elderly woman on the phone sounding like she was about to cry. I even got here early, but then everybody ran. When I got to the toilet paper, there wasn't any left. I've not had any toilet paper for 2 days. This is the 3rd store I've gone to this week. This is just horrible. So of course, I'm not needing the toilet paper in my car anymore. And hearing this lady who looks to be about 70 about to cry on the phone because she couldn't run fast enough to get toilet paper, which is absolutely horrible. Elderly people shouldn't have to outrun other people to get freaking toilet paper. I go up to her and ask her if she was looking for any specific brand or anything, and she tells me she doesn't care what brand it is, she just needs to toilet paper. So, I take the other one out of my cart and I give it to her. She seems so happy, but then seems sad, saying that she doesn't want to take it from someone else. I explained to her about my mother and why I had the 2nd pack and how people were only allowed to buy 1 pack anyway. She was extremely happy and basically said that I must have been sent from God to bless her and all of that. But here comes the moment you all have been waiting for. After the sweet elderly woman walks off to either shop or go check out, I don't know, but she was out of the area when this happened. A woman comes walking up to my cart and starts to take the toilet paper out of it. Me. Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing? Lady. Getting my toilet paper. Me. That ain't your toilet paper, that's my toilet paper. Get your hands out of my damn cart, lady. No, this isn't your handing out toilet paper. Me. Not the hell, I'm not, lady. You just gave some to that hag over there. Me. I had extra. Lady. Because you work here and you're handing it out, stop denying me toilet paper. Me. Lady, I ain't worked here in 2 years, you can just go F off. I start to walk away with my cart and my toilet paper. Lady. You stupid cow. She comes walking up behind me and tries to rip it out of my cart. I swing my cart from under her and she falls on her face. Well, not really on her face, but she falls forward onto the ground. Lady. I'm going to have you charged with assault. Me. Good luck, this place is covered in cameras, and I wasn't the one that jumped on your cart, so have fun. I proceeded to go check out and happened to see the elderly woman checking out with her toilet paper and her other groceries. I don't even know whatever happened to that lady, but I'm glad I've never seen her again. I hope she never found toilet paper. I hope she had to wipe with paper towels. The next one is titled, I do work here, but not where you think I do, mister. So, the whole thing happened a few days ago. Cast. Me, intern, other intern, engineering intern, secretary. The newly hired secretary, on her 2nd or 3rd day of work, I believe, Mr. Karen. The rude guy. Interesting detail. I am this company's CEO's daughter, but got internship through regular channels and HR, so no one knew it at the beginning. I will also be using present times because yes, onto the story. So, I'm working away with another intern and I'm in the same office that the secretary works in. We are working on the new production line in the factory and I'm working out some database kinks. I made that database and I'm mighty proud of myself. Because the dress code for interns is non-existent and the company's dress code in general is pretty lax, I'm rocking a pretty blue skirt and elegant black blouse. Also, I'm a blonde girl in her 20s. Suddenly Mr. Karen barges in and starts to yell at me. I caught only parts of that, but it included the R word, secretary, dumb btch etc. It took me a while to piece the whole story. Apparently the guy was supposed to sign an important deal with a client, but someone, presumably the new secretary, made a mistake in the client's name typing it into the file, turning it into a curse word. I can't tell you the name, of course, but it was like the client being Mr. War and someone typing Mr. Bad Word by accident, so Mr. Karen is shouting at me. The other intern is pissing his pants and I have no idea who this guy is. I don't work with people outside the production circle, clients or anything. I just make the apps and databases that hold them. I try to tell him as much, but Mr. Karen's louder than me and he says I'm in big trouble, lost us a client and crepe. I kept most of my cool as I worked in retail for a long while before, so you know, devils don't scare you anymore if you've been the assistant manager in hell. He says he's taking me the CEO, so naturally I go to the CEO's office. Mr. Karen comes in, all respectful suddenly, and starts explaining the situation as he's about halfway through the first sentence. Dad, CEO, interrupts him and goes, "Wait. Let me hear what she came to say, first. She's working on the line starting on Monday, so everything has to be done today." Since I'm already there, I tell Dad about the issue with the system and the fact that we will need to make a reboot that will make 2 other lines stop as well. He schedules the reboot for 1800 the same day and sends me on my merry way. Mr. Karen started to get the picture because he didn't stop me when I went out. I hid in the toilet to write this stuff down for my friends and reported this guy's awful behavior on the way home. It turned out Mr. Karen was supposed to fill those things himself, but he pushed it onto a secretary, and she misspelled the name in the document. Mr. Karen got a warning. Secretary got told to not accept documents from Mr. Karen anymore. He is to fill every single document himself, even those that usually would be secretary's responsibility. And I presume he met the real secretary at some point. I met secretary on Friday while rebooting system for the new production line. Seems like a really cool person. She is also working the afternoons exclusively at this site, so you can't meet her before 17:30, unless you drive to the metalworking site. She also got a reprimand, tough, as she did misspell a client's name resulting in a curse word on official paper, so, you know. I do work here, but not where Mr. Karen thought I do. P.S. I still have no idea what department or site Mr. Karen is at, but I hope his computer crashes so I can go and fix it. Update. After HR investigation, Mr. Karen got disciplinary fired. A bunch of things came out and another employee gets fired along with him. Apparently guy number 2 was covering for him on some occasions, but more people came out with statements against Mr. Karen and guy number 2, including some emails where Mr. Karen and guy number 2 pushed their own work onto others, claiming that they are higher in hierarchy. Someone else told them to pass on the job. The next one is titled, "Security thinks I am his relief." I work for a pretty large security company that has a contract with the absolute biggest employer in the city. This is where I work security for. I also live in a security-protected apartment complex. Plot twist. It is protected by the same company I work for. My apartment was right next to the clubhouse. This was where security parked. Some background information. The company as a whole uses tan shirts for supervisors and white shirts for the officers, but the specific contract for this employer dictated that supervisors wore white shirts and officers wore blue. I am a supervisor. To top it off, my apartment complex is only a 5-minute drive, 15-minute walk, from where I work. On this one particular day, I had just gotten off at 8 am from a 12-hour shift and have exactly 8 hours before I had to be back in for another 12-hour shift. I also had to deal with an employee of the company I protect trying to start fistfights and punching me in the face just 20 minutes before my shift ended. So, I was already on edge. I pulled my car up to the front of my apartment and, being the friendly introvert, I waved to the security guard who was looking directly at me, and then went towards my front door. As I was moving through the big key ring to get my key out, my shoulder is grabbed, and I am violently turned around. Still haven't been able to settle down from the incident at work. I put the guy who grabbed me over the railing and on his head. He wasn't injured or anything. It took him a minute to get up though, as he went a full 180 in under a second. When I realized it was the security guard of the complex, I walked over and tried to help him up. He fired off at me. "You aren't allowed in the residents' apartments. I'll have you fired for this." Now I have seen this guy a few times when I went to check the mail, but he seemed not to recognize me. I can fully understand. I see 500 people walk in and out where I work, and I never bother learning names unless I work with you every day or one of the big shots who actually can fire me that instant cause trouble frequently. Needless to say, I can understand the lack of recognition. "I don't work here. I live here." "Bullcrap," he immediately responded once he got back on his feet. "I know our uniform. You're the new guy supposed to be relieving me." He grabbed my arm and tried to show me where the car was. "Remove your hand from my arm or I will remove it from yours." I was already done and looking at most, 6 hours of sleep, still in fight mode. I would have apologized later for this line, but spoilers. He's already on the radio calling in his supervisor to come deal with me. An hour later, the property manager is coming in to open the clubhouse. She stops, smiles and waves and comes over. "Hi. Didn't think you would be out at this time." The property manager and I were pretty cool with each other. I am skilled enough to make most repairs myself. I'm never late with rent, and once ran out to the pool to perform CPR for a resident. She also knew from the inspection yesterday that I was going to be pulling a messed up 12 on 8 off 12 on couple days. Before I can explain anything, the other guard butted in. He was trying to go into a resident's apartment. I got my supervisor on the way. He won't be doing it again here. Ladies and gentlemen. I turned him upside down. The property manager, a nice sweet older woman, was about to turn this idiot inside out. Before she could say anything, the officer's supervisor drove up and asked what was going on. She cut the officer off and told him, "This fool is holding one of our residents hostages outside his apartment. I want him out of this complex 5 minutes ago and he will not be coming back here. Ever." The supervisor just gave the officer a dismissive thumb back motion. He had no leeway to argue. The contractee can always tell who not to allow on any site, even our own employees. Yeah, he was fired on the spot. And this is not the end, folks. Remember how I said we worked for the same company? The corporate big shots decided to rehire him and send him to the largest employer they guard and give him a second shot. He arrived for an interview at my facility, where I had hiring power. The interview went all of 3 questions. Are you going to keep anyone out that is supposed to be in here? Are you going to ask for credentials for anyone you don't know trying to enter? Are you going to grab anyone? He said no, and I accepted him to the facility. He's been working a year here now and is one of my best access control officers on site. Even to the point someone claimed he let someone in that wasn't authorized, and I laughed instantly. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.